future technologies critical to utopia. So, a long time ago, Nikola Tesla had theorized on transmission of electricity through the natural medium, that being the atmosphere. Now, in the US military, the X-37 is a craft that has given proof of principle for this whole concept. And so the whole idea is that a key future technology will be the creation of solar panel enabled satellites that generate electricity, convert that electricity into a radio wave signal, beam that down to a location on the surface, and at that location on the surface there's a special type of antenna that converts that radio wave signal back into electricity. And this is not science fiction. The American X-37 has already given a proof of principle. And so this can work. Even better, the efficiency with other sources of electricity is pretty much 20 to 30%, whereas direct transmission of electricity from solar-enabled satellites in space has an efficiency of about 80%. Key thing too is quantum computing. So the ability to solve certain optimization problems quickly is already apparent. And so, for example, let's say you're developing a wildfire response strategy by determining where to place fuel breaks, which are sections of vegetation where you are deliberately thinning the trees. Now, this is a very hard optimization problem, and D-Wave's quantum computers have already solved this type of problem in a fashion that is faster and more accurate than classical approaches. Now, of course, with the power of quantum computing, all current forms of encryption and the blockchain will be effectively not secure, because a quantum computer can break classical encryption and blockchain easily. But the upside is that you can then have a financial system based on quantum encryption itself, which by the very laws of the universe is unbreakable. And so you can have a financial system powered by quantum encryption, which will be superior to blockchain. And so quantum computers will be used to solve problems involving CO2 sequestration, electric vehicle battery optimization, and quantum machine learning can even be applied in the context of the robots in automobile factories and the like. There's another technology where you have a solar-powered water plant, which basically uses solar energy to harness water vapor in the air and create pure water. And so this is useful, and it's even useful in the context of SpaceX, because, for example, when a vehicle is landing, obviously they sort of spray water on it to cool it down and the like. But the source of that water is a problem that needs to be solved and could be done very efficiently with a solar-powered water generation plant that is using solar electricity to convert water vapor in the air to pure water, and then you could spray that on the rockets upon landing. So now, the other thing in relation to quantum computing is that in most implementations, it requires a temperature just above 0 Kelvin. And so how are you going to cool down the setup? And so helium-3 is an excellent cooling agent, but it's extremely rare on Earth and very expensive. However, it is not rare at all on the moon. And so we can mine helium-3 from the moon and use it as a cooling agent for quantum computers. Now, some people with intel in the US military understand that China has devices on the moon, but because the moon precisely only shows one face of itself at all times due to its rotation, they've gone to the far side of the moon. However, they are taking things back, in which this could likely be things mined from the moon, such as helium-3, which are extremely valuable and useful for cooling applications relevant to quantum computing. So yeah. Yeah. Other than that, in terms of energy, there's a company in Everett, Washington called Helion Energy that uses not a typical tokamak approach to fusion, but a pulsed approach with field reversed configurations, which are in the plasma state of matter. And basically, the system compresses two FRCs, and due to Faraday's law, as those compressed FRCs collide and then expand slightly in a pulsed approach, you are generating electricity. So I do believe they've been able to generate electricity with their latest machine. So, however, in their approach, the fuel for that fusion reactor is pretty much deuterium. Now, deuterium is simply an isotope of hydrogen, and so there's enough deuterium in the oceans and so on to power that type of fusion reactor for like billions of years. So this is another thing. So yeah. Yeah. So this has been Technologies Critical to Utopia. Deus Ex Machina out.